scale it, you have to understand it, right? So I was just in the trenches doing it myself for the first
You just started buying and selling yourself?
15. I'm going to drive, I'm picking it up, I'm making calls, all that sort of stuff. She's getting upset because I'm on the road at night, and then you start to realize, you start to pick up patterns of like, gosh, I'm spending 8 hours a day in the car. And so that's when you realize, okay, I got to call someone.
Okay, so how many mowers would you say you bought yourself before you hired your driver?
I bet it was like 5 to 10. It wasn't a crazy amount. Second layer of this actually turning into a business. I bought one. It worked perfectly, right? Because I didn't want to buy something that I didn't know, I didn't know how to fix it. Well, one of them just stopped working when I was driving around the middle of my lawn. I had no idea. So I thought, I had driven by this house that always had these old lawnmowers sitting in front of them. Just drove up to this guy's house. I knocked on his door and I said, do you like fix these? And he said, yeah. Well, it turns out this guy, Bill, so I drive him over to my house and he determines that the fuel pump went bad. And so then all of a sudden I got a mechanic, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And people, when you're trying to scale a business, notice what I don't have full-time employees. I've just got,
Yeah.
it's a 1099 basis. You're in there, basis. And then you start to 1099, you start to like hire people and you start to realize, my gosh, I've got this guy, like he's been doing like 20 hours a week for me. At that point, hire him part-time.
What were you paying Bill for this stuff?
Bill had his own rate, right? But he was probably working at like he's probably working like $14 an hour. So the more that hustle stuff, like you'll find right now, what's my shop rate? It's $125 an hour. Why can I charge that? It's because I market myself. I did the work of finding Bill. If he would market himself, he could easily charge 20, 25.
Yeah.
He wasn't optimizing for money. He just wanted something to do here and there. You know what I mean? I started to push beyond his limits. He's 70-year-old. He's got a cane,
So once you found Bill, did you start like opening up your parameters of what you could buy, like being more willing to flip things and not just buy and sell?
No, I shouldn't buy, even with a mechanic in the back, I should not buy anything that needs any kind of work. A little bit different formula now that I've got a dealership because I'm trying to keep the guys working in the off season. So then it actually does make sense. So I can keep his wages. So the whole, everything changed, right? When this turned into an actual dealership.
All right. So you use Bill. Bill fixes the fuel pump. How do you scale to your biggest month ever? Like, how did you have that monster month? What did that month look like?
Part of how that one came together is at that point, I'd probably been doing this for like a year and a half. Okay. And everyone thought I was crazy when I quit teaching and gave up the benefits. So they picture that I've got these little lawnmowers sitting in front of the house. They got no idea what's actually going on. So my cousin is telling me, like, you are crazy, dude, to possibly do this. He's a corrections officer. And my wife doesn't want me to do it. She's risk averse. And anyway, what ends up happening is my cousin Dan, he ends up quitting. He ends up quitting his job to come work for me out of my barn.
At the prison?
Yeah, he quits working at the prison, gets out of there. And there's other guys that I played basketball with in college, and I taught them